name is Eric. Job-wise, I work as an accountant for a law firm. I work from home, so most of my day is spent sitting at a desk. Good 8 hours a day, most likely more because I spend a lot of time at my desk. I'm married, got a dog, do a good amount of walking throughout the day because I have to walk the dog. Active 3 days a week mainly. And then I guess do the occasional walking on my treadmill and also just walking the dog and stuff. But yeah, that's me, I guess. Yeah.
How do we get connected in the first place? How do we get started?
I think what was it? So first thing, we're in the same fraternity. So through fraternity and everything, we connected on social media, which is normal. I didn't know who you were, but I was like, oh, he's a Phi Psi at RIT. I'll add him on my Instagram. And then I saw you do a lot of fitness things, and I thought that was cool. And I remember messaging you about like a simple question. You answered it. You're just like, "Oh, we should connect sometime." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And we kind of moved on. And a few months later, I reached back out again, was just like, "Hey, what do you do for training and things like that?" And you were just like, "Hey, let's get in a call and talk." And that's kind of how it started.
What was the biggest struggle you faced initially, or what was the pain that you were looking to solve when we got started?
I think the biggest thing was consistency. I think having someone push me into being consistent was very needed because growing up, I did a lot of sports, was always in basketball, baseball. Football was never team sport, but always played with friends and things like that. So I was always active and always had someone pretty much telling me, this is what we need to do, run this lap, do these suicides, and I get it done, go home, pass out, do it again the next day. And as I got older, you kind of lose that structure of having someone tell you what you need to do when it comes to staying fit. And it was hard for me to, I'll wake up, be like, I should go to the gym today. And then I go, eh, I'm not going to go to the gym. And that kept happening where I would be all in for 2, 3 months and then I'm out for 6 months and then I'm in for 2 months. And I was like, I just need that structure. And a personal trainer was something where you have someone that's like over your head, just saying, like, do this, make sure you get this done, and then be like, well, you fucked up. You need to get back into it. This is what you need to do. And that is what helped out a lot.
Where did that struggle with consistency get you before we started?
I mean, I was gaining weight, I working from home or having a desk job. I found myself not being active enough and slowly gaining more weight and seeing myself at the heaviest that I was in my life. And standing on the scale, I was just like, I need to turn this around and make a change. If not, then it's just going to keep going up and I'm gonna keep getting lazier and lazier and not do anything. So I was like, let me nip this in the bud as fast as possible and get some help to do it.
How did you feel at the time when we were getting started?
I'd look myself in the mirror and be like, man, my stomach is like out there. I was getting ready to get married and I'm like, I want to look good in those photos. And right now I don't feel as good as I want to when it gets to that. And I knew I was just like, I need to turn this around because that'll allow me to be happy to look back and see those wedding photos. Because I'd rather see myself skinnier or, a certain fit in that suit. So when I look back, I'd be like, damn, I was looking good right there. I was looking great at my wedding. And these are photos that's going to hang around the house and things like that. That's not just something that's just going to sit in my phone. So that's where I was like, I need to make this change so I can feel better about in the future about how I looked at one of those like pivotal life moments.
How did you feel at your wedding in the suit? How did it
I
fit?
felt great. The suit was looking fresh as hell. looking good. I was feeling great. I am feeling great. At the time, I was like, this is fantastic. I Everything went quick. It kind of just blast by. But then you look back, you get all the photos back, you get all talking to people and things like that, and you like, damn, that looks good. These pictures look great. We already have some hanging up on the wall in our bedroom, hanging up in the living room, and those are pictures I look back on and be happy not only for the moment, but the way I look, the way I feel, and making that change was big.
What'd you try before joining?
Nothing in particular. It was just going to the gym, and not only going to the gym, it was, I always did like a 5 days a week at the gym. In my mind, it was also always you need to go 5 days a week. You do, arms, legs, chest, back, and cardio. And that's kind of how it was like always thought about going to the gym was 5 days a week, doing all those for an hour and then going home. And, when you're going 5 days a week, that only leaves 2 days off, and one day I get sick or one day my stomach hurts or I have a headache, then you lose that day. And it's hard to get those days back when you're going 5 days a week because you only get 2 days off. So that consistency wasn't there. And I was wanting to go 5 days a week. And one week I would, then the next week, if I didn't go on that day that I kind of like had set, it will then break the whole cycle for the rest of the week because I already missed a day. And it was just never consistent where I could be there for, I don't think I ever was there 5 days a week for a whole month. And that's where it just wasn't working.
What made you decide to take the leap, especially since none of it was in person?
I believed in you, the way you talked to me about it, the ideas that you had, the excitement that you had for it all. It made me excited. It made me want to do it, and it was something where I've never done anything like this before. I never had a trainer, and I was just like, this guy seems cool. He was in my fraternity. I didn't really know him before this, but hey, as a Phi Psi, I'm like, we recruit great people. So, I believed in you, and I felt like you was the right fit for this. And it not being in person at first, I was a little nervous about it because I did want someone like in the gym with me, tracking everything I do, make sure things are getting done right. But the way you talk about communication, the way you listed out all the exercises, the way you talked about, calorie counting and meals, I'm like, you were, text message away, 5 10 minutes later you'd be like, you'll answer. If I call you, you're always there. And I was just like, what's the difference between having you in person when no matter when I ask for a response or have a question, you're right there. So at first I was scared, and then I kind of just was like, fuck it, let me just jump into it. And it really went as well or better than I would have thought at the beginning.
What was the exact result you achieved, and in what time frame?
I think the result that I achieved was the consistency that I was looking for. I think within, I want to say the first 3 to 4 months, I think that's when I completed it because it started to feel bad to miss a day in the week, or because the way we set it up was it was only 3 days a week. So I could pick whichever 3 days. I don't have to be, it has to be on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It has to be Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday or something like that. It was just like there's 7 days in a week, pick three, go there. If you can't do it during the week, go on the weekend. Once I started to figure that out, I was just like, well, what's stopping me from going? And even if I got a cold or I felt a headache, there's 4 other days that I can just like pick from. Or I went twice already. It's only Wednesday. I went Monday and Wednesday. I'm like, well, I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to go. What's stopping me from going? And once that started to set in, it really was just like, all right, I'm there 3 days a week. I think in we worked with each other for 8 months, but this month in about 2 weeks would be 1 year since we started. I probably missed 3 weeks in that year of going to the gym, and I'm proud of that for being able to do that.
You said you've only missed 3 weeks in the past year. What do you think before we got started? How many weeks in a year do you think you would have lifted in the first place?
So 52 weeks, I would say 24 weeks versus about 49 weeks. So more than half of what I was doing before, more than or twice as much I was doing before working with you.
What one thing would you say contributed the most to your success in the program?
Hmm. Thing contribute the most for success? Is it not you? I would say you, honestly. But you
I'll
are
take
the
it.
in all of it, you are the program, but outside of like what we did together, because truly is you created this program, you built the whole thing and showed me and kind of guided me. But outside of you and yourself, of the things that you've created, I think for me was the workouts. I think that was huge for me. It wasn't like what we were doing because I wasn't shown anything completely new, which I am happy about because it was things where I can go to the gym, I know what I'm doing, I know the form, so I'm not messing up. And even if I did have questions or made sure I wanted to do it right, I would, take a video, send it to you, and you'd say that looks good or make these changes. But that 3 times a week, man, that really changed my whole perspective on working out at the gym. And I think we talked about it early on because you were just like, 5 days a week doesn't seem feasible for the way you live your life. Because I was going into the office, so I couldn't really get to the gym in the morning. At night, the gym sucks because it's packed, and I'm at a YMCA. I'm not at like this global gym type of situation. So then the transition, so now I'm working from home. I'm up at 7 in the morning, get ready out the door by about 7:20, get there at 7:30, there till about 8:30, 8:45, and then back home ready to work. And doing that 3 days a week is easy because if I set my alarm and I'm just like, man, I need an extra hour, then I'm like, all right, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I did that on Monday where I was just like, set my alarm at 7. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling it today. Went back to sleep. Tuesday, got up, was just like, all right, went to the gym. Today, got up, went to the gym, going to do the same thing tomorrow because I don't want to go on the weekend. And that's my 3 days. And that's been the biggest thing for me. It's just like you don't have to go 5 days a week. You could get all the stuff you're done doing in 3 days. And I saw the results. My arms are like fucking huge. And I'm like, all right, this is working. So that was the biggest thing for me.
What's been your
Mindset,
biggest what's been your biggest mindset shift since you began working with me?
eating right, and just getting into the gym, just getting that first step. I think that's the biggest thing is just like just stepping into the door. Because once you get your foot in the gym, you're not gonna leave. Once you step in, you grab that weight, you're just like, all right, I'm in it for the hour or the 45 minutes. And I think that was the biggest mindset, was just like, and that's where the 3 days comes in, where it's real easy to get your foot into the gym 3 days a week. Very easy. If someone needs to get their foot in the gym 2 days a week, it's really easy to do that. And eating right, counting those calories, learning how to do that correctly, and just going, all right, I got this food scale that's been collecting dust. Let me just drop this rice on there and be like, all right, that's the perfect amount. And eating it that way. And it takes extra maybe 5 minutes in your meal cooking and everything. And what's the extra 5 minutes just to make sure you got it on the plate the right way? That's it.
How great is life now on the other side of the transformation, especially from like a non-fitness standpoint? How did it affect like other areas of your life?
Oh, it's energy wise, you're there. Eating has been so much better too. That was the biggest thing, even outside of when we stopped. I was on a reverse diet. So I was going up in my calorie count to a point where, even with that, I wasn't counting the way I was with you. But at the same time, I was very wary of what to and not to eat, how much to and not to eat, because I was doing it for so long. I'm like, all right, if I have something in for breakfast, I do a shake. I'll do lunch where it's meat, rice, and vegetables. And then I can do dinner, which is our normal, whatever we make for dinner. And we're looking up recipes and finding things that's not just looks good, but also is healthy, and not going out to eat as often, definitely with prices going up and everything. But outside of that, I go to a fast food restaurant maybe once a month now. Before, I would be at McDonald's probably once a week, Chick-fil-A probably twice a week. When I was working in the city, no, I do lunch out. Once we started working together, it was more of, let me get something from Chipotle, create a bowl. It's pretty easy to get like a good calorie count of there. But before then, I was like going to whatever chicken sandwich store was down the street with French fries and get a burger and fries somewhere. Working with you, I found what are the lower calorie options that still taste good, and that was a big thing. I like to eat, but if I'm gonna switch up the calorie count and everything, I'm still gonna eat good, but I'm gonna be smart about it. And that's kind of what came to for everything.
How do you feel like your body has changed physique wise? How you feel like you look? You flex in the mirror more? Tell me about
Yeah,
that.
surprisingly, this is like one time where you caught me with my shirt on. I live around the house most of the time without a shirt on, but it was cold today, so I had like my hoodie on and a shirt. Every time I pass the mirror, I'm just like, put the arm up, do the see the forearm, because you
Yes,
talk about
sir.
that, so I'm sitting here doing this all in the mirror. My arms sit here, flex the. Oh, gotta go this side because the tattoo's covered, but you can see like the cuts and everything. At the gym, it's been cold, but I wear like the tights and shorts just so I could cover my legs, because I fucking hate sweatpants at this point because you wash them once and they start to shrink. I just do the leggings and the shorts right now. I can't wait till it gets hot so I can just do shorts. But I'm like, I'm doing calf raises and I'm staring at my calves my whole time. The whole time, I'm just like, damn, they're getting big. And squatting and everything, it's looking at myself in the mirror. I'm just like, hell yeah. And I know there's more that I need to work on, but I know I'm heading in the right direction. Like, hey man, I get abs. It's over. I'm outside, shirt off every day. I don't even own a shirt. I'm gonna like burn all my shirts just because I'm like, look at this.
Becomes a menace.
Yeah,
Absolute menace.
getting. Oh my god, when one guy commented about my form, I was just like, that made my whole fucking week. I was like, when someone commented, be like, damn, that's good form. I need to learn how to do it like that. I was just like, whoo, that felt good. So that's always nice to hear when people, definitely some people that I haven't seen in a while, they notice that you lose weight and family and things like that. They see that transition to getting healthier, and they make those comments, and that uplifts you a lot. And that was a big thing for me because I have a godmom who she'll quick to tell me. She's like, she'll touch my stomach, be like, "Oh, you're gaining weight," or she'll look at me, she'll be like, "Oh, you look great. You're losing weight," type of deal. And my grandma was the same way. The older generation. When they tell me you're losing weight and stuff like that, that feels good.
If someone's sitting on the fence about working with me, what would you tell them?
You'd be surprised how easy it is, how good of a person Max is. I tell them like he's personable. He has stuff going on in his life too that will you can relate to, that you can talk with him about, and you can really build a true relationship, like a friendship with the guy. He's not going to be a drill sergeant, but he if you ask him, he could be on your ass about it and make sure you're getting things done right. He'll teach you, and he won't not someone that will scold you for doing something wrong, or kind of feel like it's his way or nothing. He's very communicative. I got a text every single day. How's it going? I wouldn't message back all the time, but that's just me. But he'll always try to ask you how you're doing, have that weekly meeting ready to go. He'll work around your schedule if you got something going on. He'll say, "All right, let's reschedule it for tomorrow or a few days out, just so we can make sure we touch base the way we should every week." He's there for you. So if you're on the fence, you should really look at it as you're not only gaining honestly, you're not only gaining a trainer, you're gaining a friend. I'd say I'm good friends with Max today, and we worked for 8 months, and it was a great 8 months. Um, I would ask them what they're looking for, and I'm pretty sure Max would be the guy that can guide them to the right spot, even if he isn't the personal trainer that might not be a perfect fit, but give him give him a month, and you'd be surprised with the results that you'll get, and how good of a trainer he'd be, and how much you'd learn from him. Even if you do that month and be like, all right, I'm done, you'd be surprised how you come out on the other side with what he'll teach you.